Welcome to the Downtown, brought to you by Arlington Citizen Media. I am Daryl Smith Jr., and in cyberspace, across from me is...
I am Rody John, and to my left is Amy's on assignment. On this week's show, we talked to Irish Hancock with the City of Arlington Emergency Management Development about COVID-19 in Arlington, West Nile flu season, and how to prepare for a tornado.
Because they're coming. We also have the first appearance of what I'm hoping will be a reoccurring segment, which we are tentatively calling Arlington Rocks, with a new song from Arlington's own Larry and Darla.
We also sit down with Latatia Teyki to talk about what to expect from the Levitt once it opens up, their benefit show this Tuesday, and how the Levitt came to Arlington.
So this past Thursday, you and Amy hosted Arlington Cares. How was that received? It'll be up until Tuesday, I believe.
Yes, we were going to keep it up till Tuesday. We were kicking off the North Texas Giving that the entire Metroplex is doing. We will talk about that in Levitt. They are having an all-day streaming broadcast, which is very nice. Multiple artists coming in streaming, and it's all ours is going all to local musicians, and we also showcased some businesses. We had at least 800 views, which is very nice.
Which appreciative of everyone that shared it and everyone that talked about it. Mm-hmm. That kind of viewership doesn't get there just from us. That was all of y'all sharing and telling everyone about it, and I'm glad y'all were excited enough to share it, and we appreciate that.
Yes, very much. Thank you very much for anyone watching, donating, and whoever just shared it. You do still have a chance to either watch it again or watch it for the first time all the way until Tuesday night, and then we'll cut it up and might give it to you in different bits. We'll see.
But it is at our Facebook still.
It is on our Facebook, but it's definitely on our YouTube channel. So go on there and check it out. It is about an hour and 18 minutes, and it's worth the time.
It is a lot of fun. You get to see the camera crew did really great. Shout out to was Film Prize.
4i Film.
Appreciate that, and they did great. It looks really great. Y'all did great. I really like the creative shots that you did, and
yeah, Eric is very much a camera wizard, and we look forward to working with him again. And then he also helped us show our goofy side that we very much enjoy showing. We don't like being serious, especially with fundraisers like this, but we like to bring the fun and bring enjoyment into people's lives.
So I know that we're reopening, and I'm glad to see the businesses having the opportunity to do that. Personally, I'm going to continue to stay home for a little while just to kind of get the lay of the land, and but so I still will be eating takeout and curbside and all that jazz. But did you eat anything or drink anything local this week?
I've had some legal beers. I'm actually enjoying their seltzer right now, which you can get in a 32 and 64 ounce growler. Only Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I believe. I don't think they've fully opened yet. But yeah, everybody else, Tipsy Oak is 25% capacity. They had Abby Brown and the Sounds, on Friday, which, from what I heard, did very well. And it's very interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And, however you decide to stay safe or, do whatever, that's cool. Everyone, just keep supporting those local businesses because it's important.
Exactly. Big chains are going to be okay. Those local mom and pops may not be. So make sure to get out there and eat local and drink local. We are here with Irish Hancock, the Emergency Management Administrator for the Office of Emergency Management. How are you today?
I'm doing quite well, Rody. It's good to talk to you again.
Good to talk to you again. Yeah, welcome back. Obviously under different circumstances now.
Yeah, the world looks a little bit different now, doesn't it?
It does. For what we can actually see of it. Last time we talked, we said we wanted to bring you back in the springtime because, as we know, in North Texas, it tends to rain a little bit. If the day we're recording this, we had quite a few rain showers this morning, and then I believe a couple days ago we had hail as well.
Absolutely. It's there's a few things that you can pretty much count on in the state of Texas, at least in the north central part of Texas, and severe weather during the spring is pretty much just a norm. I think those of us that have grown up in this area are pretty much used to it occurring and know that it's a constant threat during the springtime. But it gets pretty bad at times, and there was some really large hail that occurred the other day. There's in Texas and surrounding states, there's a lot of tornadoes that were occurring as well. So we're smack dab in the middle of spring storm season, I would say.
It's true. I do want to touch on this later, but that was the reason we wanted you initially. But it just happened that a complete pandemic happened in the world. So with this global pandemic of COVID, where was the biological disease on your emergency planning list?
Well, I will tell you that coincidentally enough, we actually planned for a pandemic in 2007 during the avian flu outbreak then. And so we actually brought all the city departments together at the time, had a avian flu exercise, came up with some lessons learned, and kind of put a plan together in the event it should ever happen. What a lot of people don't recognize is the fact that we have a lot of diseases every year in the world that end up hitting our radar. It just so happens that this one actually broke through, whereas a lot of the other ones end up just kind of handling themselves in the fact that they don't go worldwide like we are seeing with COVID-19. It just seems like a couple of years ago, the hot topic was Zika. Influenza is an annual, epidemic that affects millions of people worldwide, and tens of thousands pass away, from that. We've had the swine flu from a couple of years ago. We had chikungunya a couple of years ago. So, I actually put together a list the other day of all the diseases that I've been a part of, I guess, shall we say, as far as planning for in the city of Arlington since I've been here. And I was actually just looking for that to kind of, when I put it all together, it was kind of like, oh, well, that's true. Because, we have West Nile virus every year. The first time West Nile virus affected the city of Arlington was in 2012, and has been an ongoing threat to the city ever since. And hold on, I'm pulling up that page right now. There we go. 07 was H5N1 avian flu. 2009, 2010 was H1N1 swine flu. As I mentioned, West Nile virus started in 2012 and is an annual issue for our part of the state of Texas. Pertussis was in 2012, 2013, influenza in 2013, 2014. I don't think any of us are going to forget about Ebola in 2014.
Right.
Chikungunya in 2015, Zika in 2016. Again, another severe outbreak of influenza in 2018, and now 2020, the big pandemic, global epidemic of COVID-19.
Right. And you had mentioned before we started recording that it in fact is West Nile season again.
It is actually right now at this point in time, being the end of April, it is West Nile virus season. Started a couple of weeks ago. We, as you are aware, and everybody's aware, we are in the middle of COVID-19, and then also it just so happens to be spring storm season. So there's a few threats out there.
Yeah. Now, what can people do to kind of mitigate the West Nile obviously it's a yearly thing. We're kind of more expected as to what we can do as opposed to COVID, where, it almost changes daily. But what can we do to kind of fight the West Nile for right now?
Well, West Nile, one of the things you can do is, for one, in your own home, in your area, like say outside your home, your backyard, your front yard, what have you, West Nile virus is transmitted by mosquitoes. They end up biting usually an infected bird or horse or something that has West Nile in their system, and then when they get it, and when they bite a human, then they pass it along that way. So one of the things you can do is remove the breeding sites for mosquitoes in and around your home to try and help limit the spread of the virus. So like after it rains, like last night, standing water that you might have in an upturned lid of some kind, or a bucket in your backyard, or a flower pot that's empty, that's just holding water, those can end up becoming breeding sites for mosquitoes that end up helping pass along the problem of West Nile virus. Also, when you are outdoors wearing stuff such as DEET or mosquito repellents, wearing long sleeve clothes if possible, to try and help limit the amount of area that a mosquito might bite you. Those are just some of the activities that you can do to kind of help prevent getting West Nile virus.
Okay, well, I didn't even think I mean, mosquitoes, obviously, we all know with the rain does in fact come mosquitoes, because like you said, just anything turned over, you got a little pool, all of a sudden you got a bunch of mosquitoes, and you're like, so preventing that is definitely something that people have been needing to do in North Texas anyway.
I've had to become somewhat of an expert, and I'm not an expert by any means, but the different types of mosquitoes and what passes which type of disease, because we mentioned Zika a few minutes ago. Zika is carried by a completely different type of mosquito. Little did I know that there were several types of mosquitoes. I just thought they all were bloodsuckers. But the mosquito that carries Zika, they can actually breed in something as small as, say, a water bottle lid that just has some water in it, and the lid, they can actually breed in that. So it's, there's removing the breeding sites is a key for anybody to help try and prevent the spread of any type of mosquito-borne illness.
Very nice. So how do you think Arlington and the state of Texas is handling the COVID-19 situation?
Well, and I'll be honest, I'm not going to go real far on that one, because what I will say is the last time we had a pandemic of this magnitude was 1918, the Spanish flu.
Right.
So yes, I can say that we've been planning for something like this, but who's actually ever had to really do what we've had to do as a society and basically stop, everything that we are used to and try and start over again. So how is everybody doing? I'd say everybody's doing the best they can when there's really not a playbook on something of this magnitude. There's a lot of information about what happened in 1918, but how much of that is applicable to what we have now? Our population density has increased even more in the past 102 years than what it was then. The way we are connected worldwide to pass along information, to even know it's occurring, I promise, it is a much different place than it was when the last pandemic. So we're all having to kind of, see what we think will work best and move in a fact-based decision-making process. And everybody that's involved, or whether it's elected officials or civic leaders or just even families themselves, are having to make the best decisions based on the known information for a virus that is brand new, that no one knows anything about.
It's true. So what can people do to help continue to help flatten the curve?
Well, it's out there a lot. It's clean your surfaces frequently, wash your hands, cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze, or sneeze into the crook of your arm. Wear a mask when out in public. Social distance as much as possible. I know everywhere that I go, there are these signs and constant reminders of doing it, because as a society, it was something that we hadn't practiced until this occurred. So there's many reminders, in everyday life to say, hey, these are the actions you should take to help prevent the spread and to, as you say, flatten the curve.
Right. Now, you guys you hosted Governor Abbott along with Mayor Williams recently. What was that?
And Judge Whitley.
Okay, wow. Okay. Even more.
Yeah. And what was your question about that?
Well, how was that entire situation? Because I remember looking at the picture, I'm like, oh, there's Irish right over there.
It was interesting. It was the first time in my career that I've sat at a table with a governor, especially the governor of Texas. So that was relatively surreal to to hear their thoughts as to the best course of action. Overall, it was surreal, interesting, and kind of a high point of my career, I could say that. But again, if you remember when that picture or that meeting occurred, when you look back, it seems like it was years ago, but it was only, just 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
I was going to say roughly around a month, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very long, and the world has changed significantly just in those past 4 or 5 weeks.
It's true.
The governor was, when he got here, he met with our county judge and our city mayor, Williams, and they shared their thoughts, their opinions, their best choices on how to help, protect the citizens of the city of Arlington, the residents and citizens of Tarrant County, as well as, the Texans that all three gentlemen represent. And again, they're trying their best to make the right decisions for the greater good.
It's true. Now, as we mentioned earlier, it is springtime in North Texas, and as we have recently had many thunderstorms, what precautions can people take to kind of help keep themselves safe during these? Because, we did have hail, and we luckily haven't really had tornadoes yet, but it is getting that time of year. So
Right.
What precautions can people take?
First and foremost, be weather aware, whether that's paying attention to the local news. I get asked frequently, how do I stay informed? And one of my first responses is usually have a weather radio, a NOAA weather radio, so that has an alarm built into it, so that when the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning for the area that you live in, the weather radio will actually activate and sound off an alarm to let you know that there is an immediate danger within the area. So, I would assume, as you're aware, and many of your listeners are aware that have lived in Texas more than 5 minutes, a lot of times when you have severe weather, you only have minutes to get to reach safety. So when you hear the weather radio, or you hear the outdoor warning sirens, first you should stay indoors. You should seek news sources for information to determine what the threat is, and then based on the threat, seek the appropriate shelter that gives you the best chance of not being injured in any type of a significant event. Being prepared is having all that planned out in advance. If you do have say a tornado warning issued for your area, where would you or you and your family, shelter in the event you're at home? Which room, which closet, which bathroom would you choose? Do you have a weather radio? If not, what other sources do you have? Do you have battery-powered radios? And more importantly, because a lot of times when we have these severe weather events, power gets knocked out. And so if you do not have a battery-powered source, then you're going to be kind of left without the ability to seek the information. Having a go kit, which is one of the phrases of it, or emergency bag that might have such things such as identifications. If you take prescriptions, having extra prescriptions and medication in the bag, so if you have to leave suddenly, you can still leave and not have to try and remember what the dosage it was of the medicine that you normally take. Having extra sets of keys, having extra sets of clothes, bottled water, extra batteries, your weather radio or radio source of some kind. Those are things that you can do in advance to be prepared for in the event that you do have a weather radio that alerts you to an impending threat, or you hear the outdoor warning sirens. You're not trying to determine what you should do. You already have planned it out and know exactly what to do.
So if people have concerns and are curious in general if they have the COVID, where can they get tested?
Well, you can start with your own primary care physician. And I would say that if they feel that they are infected with the coronavirus, COVID-19, they need to call their doctor first. Don't just show up, because if they are infected, they could end up infecting the entire doctor's office, as well as those who might want to go to the emergency room. They need to call ahead. Secondly, in the city of Arlington, recently we have opened a mobile testing COVID-19 testing site at the Arlington Parks Mall. Now, I need to make sure that as I say that, it doesn't mean get in your car and go there right now. We are, to make sure that we have the appropriate personnel for the patient loads to be tested, we have required people to go to the arlingtontx.gov/coronavirus website. On there is a link for drive-through testing to where we will test not just Arlington citizens, but Tarrant County citizens as well. And there's a couple of little qualifying questions, but ultimately, if you are symptomatic of potentially being infected with the COVID-19 virus, then you will be they will allow you to register, select the time that you're available, and then give you further instructions from that point as to when and where to go. And then the whole thing is that it's run by the Arlington Fire Department, and we want to keep the people in their car as much as possible. Right. So there's a lot of keep your windows up when you get on site. You actually be instructed with what to do and where to go by an individual wearing full personal protection equipment, also known as PPE, whereas they have a little flip chart that they stand outside the car and just point to the flip chart and have you read what the instructions are. They really try to limit the contact as much as possible up to the point when it's time to be tested, and which is there in the parking garage on site at the Parks Mall. Then they'll instruct you to roll down your window, and they'll conduct the test with you in your car, and then you'll be on, or you'll go. The testing, we're hoping to have results. We're utilizing a private lab, and this is in coordination, I have to say, with Tarrant County Public Health. But we're utilizing a public lab to actually conduct the test and hopefully have results anywhere from 2 to 5 days.
That's great. So what are the hours of this so that people...
It's ever changing. I will just say right now that it is Monday through Friday currently. Obviously, it is based on need, hence why we set up registration. So we try to. It's usually a portion of the morning, a portion of the afternoon. If we have a lot of registrants, then we will have a longer day. If we have very few, it's a shorter day. I was asked the other day as to what are the hindrances of conducting a mobile testing site, and for one is having plenty of test kits, which right. we appear to have. The second is to have plenty of people to actually test, and so. That's the key, is trying to get the word out so that people know to be tested, to register, go to the Arlington website so that they can get registered so we can get them tested if they feel that they're infected.
Iris, I really appreciate you taking the time out because I know you are quite busy with everything that's going on. Yeah. We do look forward to talking to you again, hopefully in the better times. So
our new norm is what I'm hearing.
Yes. Well, you can't be a new normal unless it's every day, I guess.
True. Well, so, I look forward to visiting with you again, Rody. Yes. Anytime you want to talk with me or my staff or, the Office of Emergency Management or even us in the Arlington Fire Department, I will do everything I can to assist, and I really appreciate all the work that y'all do highlighting our community in the great city of Arlington.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are here with a new segment that I am calling tentatively, maybe it'll stay, maybe it won't, Arlington Rocks, where we showcase a little bit of Arlington music from homegrown performers and people that we really like and just think bring a lot to Arlington. Our first song that we're going to play in this is by a duo called Larry and Darla. It's a husband and wife duo. Larry was actually one of the first people that I met when I started going to the Truth Vinyl open mics. He asked me about the small ukulele that I have, but I actually had to rush away very quickly because I was headed back to my house to eat dinner with my family. But as luck would have it, we actually got matched together in the Arlington Musicians Lottery that I helped put on in 2019 at Division Brewing. And I got to know Larry a lot more, and I really enjoyed playing with him. And we actually played this song, Brown Water Blues, that we're going to play in just a moment here. We played this song as a four-piece at the Arlington Musician Lottery, and it was a lot of fun to play. I enjoyed playing lead on it. I'm excited about the studio recorded version that they have. If you see them out, they've played at Six Flags. I've seen them at Old School Pizza Tavern. They play at various places around the city, and you can check them out on Facebook and all those places that you would expect to find music. But definitely give them a listen, and I hope you enjoy this song, and I hope you seek them out more. And anytime they're playing around the city, when you have the opportunity to, just give them a listen, and I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, here we are with Brown Water Blues by Larry and Darla.
Living down in Beaumont, I got the brown water blues. Living down in Beaumont with the brown water blues. Oh Lord, my baby, she's done left me. Don't know what I'm gonna do. I went to Village Creek, Lord, catch a fish on my line. Down to the creek, Lord, to catch a fish on the line. Oh yeah, I didn't catch no fish, and she's still on my mind. Living down in Beaumont, got the brown water blues. Living down in Beaumont with the brown water blues. My baby, she's done left me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I went out to the river, Lord, take a ride on my boat. I went out to the river, Lord, to take a ride on my boat. My baby broke my heart. Now my boat it won't flow. Living down in Beaumont, I got the brown water blues. Living down in Beaumont with the brown water blues. Oh Lord, my baby, she's done left me. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Crystal Beach, Lord, just sitting drinking the sand. I drove down to the beach, Lord, just sitting drinking the sand. Think about my baby, 'cause she's got a new man. Living down in Beaumont, I got the brown water blues. Living down in Beaumont with the brown water blues. Oh Lord, my baby, she's done left me. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I am here with Latatia Teyki from Levitt Pavilion, the executive director. How are you today?
I'm great, John. How are you?
I'm well. So, how did the Levitt Pavilion come to Arlington?
So I'll tell you, this goes back to 2008 and probably even a little bit before then. Maggie Campbell at the time was part of downtown Arlington, and she got together with some local community leaders, Cliff McCoskey, Kristen Vandergriff, and it was Mayor Cluck at the time. And they actually got together, and Maggie went out to LA to the Levitt Foundation offices and started the conversation with what that would look like, bringing a Levitt Pavilion to Arlington. And then the group just started to get larger with other, community players like Jane Alexander. There were several, Renee McQuaid was involved. There was Randy Gideon, architect, was involved. So there's lots of people started to gather and said, what would that look like in Arlington, Texas? And so with all the community support, they were able to make that happen and start their fundraising efforts. And then as that went on, they hired Patty Dew, who recently retired last fall. And Patty had led the operational piece for this past 12 years. 2018 was their first mini concert series. And this would be our 12th year. And we had our first concert, as a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, live streaming, a little bit different than in the past, but we did have a first concert for the year.
Man, it's crazy to think that the first concert was almost beginning of May, just the end of April, and it takes forever.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, we've got a global pandemic on our hands, so we've got to, not gather around for these things. But Levitt is still doing its part with the streaming. Now, you guys are showing local artists, national artists. What can you tell us more about how people can view these through Levitt Pavilion, and what kind of sprung this idea to do so?
Yeah, so we are part of the Levitt Foundation Network. There are eight pavilions across the country, and we Zoom call once a week, anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. And earlier in the year, when I had just came on board back in February, we had a summit, and I met with all the executive directors across the country. And so that rapport building started, and then we have these Zoom calls. And when there was changes in the market, we all just started kind of collaborating on what does that look like for a venue? What does that look like? We're a live outdoor concert venue, and where we have thousands of people on our lawn, and folks that enjoy that connecting with people. So what was that going to look like in this environment that we know is changing? And so we came up with the thought to do live streaming, and a lot of the artists were already doing that individually on their own and looking for ways. I mean, those guys aren't, they're not playing, so they're not getting paid. So how could we assist in that process and then keep our audience engaged and invested in the Levitt? And so it's kind of been this organically, and yet with some ideas and thoughts from Levitts across the country. We have Levitt Denver, we have the Memphis Shell. And so all of those have different ways that they're trying to stay connected. So our live streaming, we actually have kind of focused on our Texas artists. So, we started out with Brad Thompson, which is a local Fort Worth artist. And that was really nice. We had Taylor Young this week, and he's out of Dallas, but he, has performed all over Dallas, Fort Worth with the O's. And he's actually going to be opening up for Styx. And then we had Brad Thompson. We brought him on board last week. And Brad later on in the fall is going to be opening up for Ambrosia. So one of the things as we started planning our year was, as we had artists coming in, that we brought in a community aspect to it, which was having a local artist open up for them. And so it all played in nicely with how we're planning out what the next, 6 to 8 weeks are going to look like, knowing that could change. Our concert season was set to start May 15th. We had to push that start date out to June 19th. And we added some weeks in the fall because, we want to make sure that those artists are on stage and performing, and that, we're helping to support their efforts. So we've been really working hard to kind of retool on a regular basis. So yeah, it's been exciting.
Oh, that's really good. I just really appreciate that you guys are still wanting to bring out live music for people, because I mean, honestly, most people who aren't essential are in fact staying home, and I mean, which is good, and that they need entertainment. Not that there's not a lot of other streaming services, but the genuine live music experience is completely different than anything you can really put into words. So giving that at least the live music feel while they're still in the comfort of their own homes is still fantastic, and it needs to be out there.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you, John, a funny story. So just last night, and again, every live stream is so authentic. So it has its different feel. You're trusting and working with the artist. You've got a couple of messages, but yet they have their style of how they want to get it across. And then you have their audience, you have our audience, and everybody's interacting. And I got a text message late yesterday that said, "Oh my gosh, that this particular individual, she was on her patio, she was listening, she was having a glass of wine, and she ran into one of her friends in online chatting." And so it became this cool experience. And so it's like, wow, okay, so even though it is live streaming, it's still having an impact. It's making a memory. It's an experience. And then on the first live streaming we did with Brad Thompson, we did it on the second floor of the hospitality suite, the Baylor Scott and White Orthopedic and Spine Hospitality Suite. And Brad is up there, and again, we're set up. He's doing it live from his phone and my Instagram phone, and he's going at it, and down on the lawn with social distancing, of course. I mean, they were like 15 and 20 feet away from each other. There were about a handful of people, with their mask, standing up and dancing. Now, they weren't listening to Brad as us putting on a show. They had him playing live on Facebook. And so it just shows you the need for people to listen to music and how that music feeds the soul. And, again, that wasn't planned. And again, we wouldn't want those crowds to increase. Again, they were so spaced out. And again, it was less than 10, but it was cool. It just shows the love of the Levitt and the love of music.
It's true. Now, you mentioned that the where he was playing, the Levitt has gone through a bit of a renovation. When it does open back up, what new additions can people look forward to?
Yeah, so exciting. After 12 years, or on our 12th year of operation, we'll actually have public restrooms for people instead of porta potties. So everybody is, the community really rallied in us getting the funding to get the hospitality suite under construction. And with that, of course, is the restrooms. And that, we're set to have access to that in July sometime. Jay Hutcherson Construction, being in the construction industry, they were able to continue on and have done just a fabulous job out there. And we're real excited. So that will be a nice touch. What the plan will be is, again, depending on how, the rules come out and what rules we need to follow, but we'd like to open the hospitality center up for tours and get everybody in the community to get a good feel of what that experience is like. And then, we'll roll out kind of a plan on how that facility is going to be used when the season starts.
Oh, that's really great. Now,
it's pretty fabulous. Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's amazing. It took 12 years to actually get actual bathrooms there.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I'll tell you what, Bart Shaw with Ivan S. Shaw out of Fort Worth, the architect, you talk about, it will be the nicest looking restrooms you've ever seen. The design is beautiful. While everybody's out driving around and needs a place to go and visit while you're in your car during this time, drive by there and just watch. It's a beautiful building. It's a nice addition to that area.
I've never wanted to see a bathroom so bad now.
Right. Right.
So the Levitt and the Arlington Tomorrow Foundation are partnering together on Tuesday, May 5th, the Cinco de Mayo this year, to put on a full day of performances and to bring awareness to nonprofits. What more can you tell us about this?
Okay, so it's really cool. So what's happened is Communities Foundation of Texas, has the North Texas Giving Day Tuesday now, and it's May 5th. And in the past, the Arlington Tomorrow Foundation and the Levitt supported the event that's in the fall, and that event will continue. A lot of people are asking, does this take the place of it? And it does not. That event will still happen. But in our partnership, what we decided to do is, instead of the Levitt going out and hosting our event where we're, of course, raising funds, we're a nonprofit and we're seeking out funding, but that how can we show the strength of Arlington? And Arlington Tomorrow Foundation said, yes, let's join forces. And so on May 5th, we will be promoting the 160 nonprofits in Arlington that are needing support. And so that will be actually started last night with Taylor Young kind of making a mention, but then you're going to start seeing a lot of things on Facebook and Instagram and different social medias. The radio station, the Ranch 95.9, they're coming on board to push out that information. So the goal is to have as many people visit in on the Levitt's Facebook page during that day on May 5th. And we start out at 11 o'clock, and we have Brad Russell from the Brad Russell Band. And then we will have September Moon, which is a local artist, and both of those are local artists. And then later on in the day, we have Steve Helms, and we just found out that Latin Express is going to join Cinco de Mayo. We're so excited about that. And then we'll close out the day at 7 with Sarah Hickman, and nice. She'll be in her living room down in Austin, or a room in the house, and maybe on her patio. And so just the collaboration that's gone on with the Arlington Tomorrow Foundation, Communities Foundation of Texas, the City of Arlington, and of course the Levitt and the Levitt Board. And the artist. It's been great. It's been fast paced because that event was actually, put out not just but a few weeks ago. And so it's really exciting to see how Arlington pulls so together to go, how can we help bring attention to the 160 groups that need help? And so during that day, we'll be encouraging people to go to the website for North Texas Giving Day Tuesday Now, and search out Arlington and search out the charities in Arlington that you might want to support, or if it's a cause and it's education, or if it has to do with animals, you can go in, and they've made that search engine so good that you can look at all the different organizations that need help. We really want to emphasize, that this particular day to just encourage folks to be intentional in their giving.
I saw September Moon live at the Our Town, Our Sound at the Arlington Music Hall in February it was. And wow, they are incredible. And then we just had Steve Helms on our fundraiser. So that man is not only the nicest guy, but puts on an incredible show. It was just literally 5 of us because we were keeping the crowd very low for our filming. And yeah, he puts on a good show. So I look forward to seeing what he does this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, he actually wrote a song just recently called Spirit Lives. And out on the Levitt lawn, you'll see the flags flowing. It's beautiful. It's in the shape of the medical cross. And so the song was written kind of based on that concept of what we're all doing and living with. So I'm anxious. I'm hoping he's going to be playing that at 4:00 on Tuesday. So yeah, you can go. You'll be able to go to our Facebook page and get actually the schedule of what's going to be happening that day.
Even better. So we have a segment on the show called the Tournament of Toppings. We're trying to find the best pizza in Arlington. What is your favorite pizza place here in Arlington?
Oh my gosh, where did I gain the most weight in college and then had some actually this week? That would be Mama's Pizza, but I like their cheese bread sticks. Yeah. Double Italian dressing, mainly just dipping it, and and now my granddaughter, we ordered cheese pizza and we ordered the cheese stick pizza, and she did a taste off. She prefers now the cheese stick pizza like I love so much. The tradition carries on.
Yeah. I wish it was closer. I'm in South Arlington, and not that it's too terribly far away, but I do wish that place was closer.
Oh, yes.
So once the Levitt does open up again, what and whom can people look forward to seeing?
So coming up, so what we did, and just to hit through what we did is because we already had our schedule lined up starting in May, we were basically able to push all of those artists to our fall. We had the opening slots at that point, which is great. So, I mean, we have Gary P. Nunn, we have Ambrosia, we have the Drifters, we have Max Stalling, we have Josh Ward. We've got a variety of genres, and we were able to pivot those all to the fall. Thank goodness, we're so excited. I know that they're ready to start playing. And, I think our plan is, right now is the June 19th opening. And we know, like everybody else's business, we look at it daily. And there is a chance. Will that, push to the fall? Maybe. And will we be able to move those artists? Yes. Because once our season was released, we had such great feedback. People are excited to see who all's coming. And Latin Express, as a matter of fact, they were on our schedule. And so this works out perfect for them to come and do a live streaming for us. And so we can still stay connected during this time.
Yeah, I'm seeing you guys are doing quite a bit of the movie nights as well, the sing-alongs. And I think that's that's just so much fun as it is.
Yes, so the Highlands have been a supporter of that. That's a very important events that we do. So those, again, if June, July doesn't happen, those will all push out to September.
Right.
And then, and regarding best practices, I mean, we are on calls every week talking about what's that going to look like, and are we prepared? And so that will be top of mind as we get into the re-entry into what that looks like. And, just know that we're thinking about that constantly, and we'll be prepared for it.
That's great. Now, if people want to follow the Levitt Pavilion on social media and go to the website to watch all these streaming acts, how can they do so?
Yeah, so that's great. So, John, thank you for asking. That makes me so happy. No, it's real simple. Go to Facebook, follow Levitt Pavilion Arlington, follow. And, and then we're also on Instagram and Twitter. And, I would just love it if to support the 160 Arlington charities and what we're doing, and this collaboration in Arlington with the Arlington Tomorrow Foundation and in the city, that, you guys, that folks will share it, that, not only will you like it, not only will you, make comments, but that you'll share it with the folks that are in your network, and that we get as many people, and that we really shine as a community during this North Texas Giving Day Tuesday Now event on May 5th.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to having you back on at a later date.
Oh, John, I do. I'd look forward to sitting down and having a pizza with you.
I enjoy that. Yes, I very much look forward to that too.
Thank you so much for thinking of us.
Any problem. Thank you.
All right, well, that was our show. Thank you so much to Irish and the Department of the Emergency Management Department. Thank you to Levitt and everything that they do. I feel that Levitt was kind of the turning point for the downtown Arlington area to be okay, we're getting serious about this area. It's going to be something, and it's been there longer than most things downtown, and I feel like it has an important role still to play. As we figure out how we go forward with live music. But, appreciate them sitting down with us, and that's always great.
Yeah, very much. Thank you to Levitt. Thank you to Irish. We look forward to talking with them again. Irish is now a two-timer on this show. So.
Yes, he is. He's closing in on that denim jacket.
Yeah, sure is.
All right, well, like we always say, eat local, drink local.
And go rediscover your city.